Yeah, he's done a bit of work before the game as well. A good sweat on the referee.
So we're underway in Group B, which also includes Nigeria and, fascinatingly, Tahiti. And see those two in action tomorrow. Here's Busquets early for Spain. This could be the usual pass, pass, pass from Spain. Will it be press, press, press from Uruguay?
Well, there's going to be a lot of space out wide for Spain, because it looks as though Ramirez, the number 18, is going to play in between Suarez and Cavani. He's going to play in the role just behind those two. So it will be easy for Spain to get the ball out wide.
Pedro looking to make progress down that right-hand side. They won the European Championship final by 4-0 against Italy. That was a big statement after a few critics at Euro 2012. Some people always, or almost, were saying they're a bit boring.
Well, some of their football is outstanding. I think the one question mark against them is that they create situations, they create 2v1s on certain areas of the field. They have the chance to get the ball into the box, and they just turn away from situations. I think that's what frustrates sometimes the Spanish public as well. They like the passing football, they like possession football, but there needs to be some penetration at the end of it.
Soldado's a fascinating pick, isn't he, up front?
I think he's a good pick as well, because they get so many options to dink balls into the box or get balls in behind the opposition. Soldado has got the chance to get onto them.
He did score in midweek when Spain went to New York to beat Ireland by 2-0.
See how narrow Uruguay are. Switch of play is going to come here from Busquets.
Here's Andres Iniesta. Jordi Alba, part of the huge Barcelona contingent in this team, as always. Well played by Fabregas. And there's something for your collection, a misplaced pass by Spain in midfield.
Uruguay winning it back, trying to counter-attack through the Southampton player, Ramirez.
Don't forget to download the ESPN FC app for your smartphone device to receive FIFA Confederations Cup in-progress alerts, including video clips of every goal and key match moments.
Well, there's another one for the collection. Fabregas giving the ball away cheaply in midfield there.
This is a vital acclimatization exercise for Spain, a year ahead of the World Cup, providing they qualify, of course. They're only 1 point ahead of France in their group and needed a vital away win in Paris a few months ago to get themselves back in pole position in that group. It's not over yet, though.
Certainly isn't. It was interesting to hear one or two of the players talking about next year's finals. As you said, they haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
That result against Finland at home. And a couple of their goals, for all their play, that goal against Finland came from an aerial ball into the box, which Sergio Ramos won in the air. Still haven't seen that forward pass yet. That might cause problems for Uruguay.
Iniesta again. Still they keep possession back to Piqué. It's quite hard for whole 5-minute periods sometimes in matches for the opposition to even get a kick. But I guess opposition coaches know that's the way it's going to be and plan accordingly.
Well, that's what some of the coaches think, that they've now seen the way they can thwart Spain by at times letting them have the ball, defending quite deeply, make sure they're compact.
Jordi Alba. There's absolutely no reason really why Spain will not be right among the favourites should they qualify to win the World Cup again. Jordi Alba playing the early ball in, and they nearly came up with something there.
There was the opportunity. There's the overload down the left-hand side. The fullback's tucked in. Pereira, the cross comes in. They get two players. Fabregas gets a little touch on it.
Soldado might have had a goal with almost his first touch.
I think Godin just gets a touch on the ball there that took it away from Fabregas. Good defending from the number 3. Centre-half saw that Lugano was out of position, got across. That's why Soldado is in the side, so that when they get in those crossing areas, he can try and get on the end of them.
9 caps and 5 goals so far for Soldado, including a hat-trick against Venezuela.
Certainly not the biggest centre-forward, but he movement in the box is good. He works defenders. There was the man that got the slight touch and got across to block Fabregas's header.
Arbeloa was trying to find an angle for his cross, the regular right back, though he hasn't been for Real Madrid. A difficult season, Jose Mourinho's last season at Real before his move to Chelsea, and the much publicised fallout with Iker Casillas, who he wasn't picking following his broken hand injury. All kinds of speculation about why that might have been.
It was a worry for Arbeloa because it was Michael Essien, a central midfield player, that was playing at right back in his place at times.
Alba inside to Iniesta. It'll be interesting to see how Spain might just tweak their usual style, knowing that opposition teams are making plans for the way they usually go about their business. One thing I've noticed early on here is they've suddenly gone from just playing the ball slowly around and changing the tempo quickly when they get around the edge of the box.
They're certainly trying to do that. Some lovely 1-2s, but they're also pressing the ball very much like Barcelona do. When they've lost it, Uruguay can't keep hold of the ball. I think the player that can really cause problems is Alba, the left back, because he's going to be a spare player all the time. Suarez is going infield, Gargano is going infield, and it just leaves Pereira, the right back, over this side of the field. He's got no protection in front of him.
Can we have our ball back? I think Uruguay might be saying here at the moment.
The big star, Cavani, who we've seen a lot of for Napoli. Wonderful player. Hasn't touched the ball, I don't think, yet.
And they just make it look so easy, don't they? It is sumptuous football, really. Iniesta this time muscled out of it by Perez, who's a kind of midfield enforcer, and they've lost it again. Spain so far have had 92% of the ball. That figure is rising as we speak.
Pedro just come into this side for a moment. But they've won the ball back so quick. That's a feature of their play. Spain, Barcelona, not quite so much with Real Madrid.
Now then, here's Luis Suarez.
Just the wrong angle on the pass. There was space because they were trying to squeeze up there, Spain, and press the ball. Suarez got himself turned. Ramirez had made the run.
There he is, Oscar Tabarez, El Maestro, they call him in Uruguay. And he was late naming his team this time. It was a day before the game. He was doing it 3 days before the matches at the World Cup. Didn't do them any harm. They got to the semis.
Commentator's dream, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Please follow suit, everybody. Not going to happen. State secret for most coaches.
Now, can they see a forward pass here, Uruguay? Not a good one.
It's a casual and poor ball, really, by Maxi Pereira.
Trying to press there, but still Spain play around it.
Stuart, how dispiriting is it to play against this kind of thing when you just can't get a kick?
Well, the best team that I played against was Liverpool in the 70s and 80s, or the 80s. They were outstanding. They kept the ball, they pressed you. They played long when they needed to. And you knew when you played at Anfield, you weren't going to get much of a touch, and it is totally dispiriting.
They used to say you were lucky if you got a cup of tea when you went to Anfield in that era. Nicely done. Here's Fabregas. Oh, off the inside of the post and away. Unlucky. Spain are playing beautifully here.
Well, they work the space brilliantly here. There's the little over from Iniesta. Just allows Fabregas to let the ball run across his body. He opens himself up, and I think he's trying to place it into that corner. It's a great effort from Spain, particularly Fabregas. Hasn't been in top form for Barcelona.
And there's been a lot of speculation about him making a move back to the Premier League. He says that is absurd talk.
Well, he made such a big fuss about going to Barcelona. He's one true love, and that was where he was brought up.
And he hasn't been altogether happy about not always being in the starting lineup. Who would be, I guess?
Well, I think when you go to Barcelona, you see that Busquets and Iniesta and Xavi and one or two others are there, and it might be slightly difficult to get in the team. Certainly Lionel Messi.
Sergio Ramos wide to Jordi Alba, who's just had his first season, a successful title-winning season in his first year at Barcelona. Scored, didn't he, in the Euro 2012 final? Good goal.
He's got so much pace at left back. I'm surprised he's not playing that little bit higher up the field.
And next season he'll just have Neymar in front of him. Fabregas. Iniesta looking for the half yard to get the shot away. All Uruguay can do at the moment is sit there and defend, and every time they get the ball, Spain have got it back again within about a second and a half, it seems. This is extraordinary, really, the domination.
Arbeloa came across from right back to win that ball. That's what they try and do. They press it, don't give the opposition any time on the ball, so they can't get their head up and see that next pass. For Cavani and Suarez, and neither of you had a proper touch of the ball yet. So dispirited, as we've already said.
Well, they're just sitting everybody back behind the ball and existing at the moment. They'll try for a fast counter if they can ever get a hold of the football. Busquets picks out a good ball there, and Fabregas just tried a clever ball on towards Pedro. It didn't quite get through.
And there you see it again. Ramirez was pressed. He could just about get a little pass out to Gargano. He was pressed, and Spain have the ball back again. It's two sides to Spain's game. The press inside, but also the possession side. And they're just trying to quicken things up when they get in and around the penalty box. Been a good start from them.
Fabregas just got a little kick there from Cavani. I noticed sign of Uruguay's growing frustration, perhaps. Here's Jordi Alba again.
He's got a really difficult job, Pereira. He's not quite sure whether to tuck in when players go inside. Not sure whether to push out on Jordi Alba, the fullback.
In 9 meetings, Uruguay have never beaten Spain. In fact, the only South American nations who've ever beaten Spain in history, Brazil and Argentina. Iniesta languidly off the outside of the boot to Jordi Alba. There's not a lot of pressure on the ball, really, from Uruguay.
Well, they're trying to stay compact. They're trying to make sure that Spain can't play between them. But it means that Spain are going to dominate possession. They're always in attacking areas. I'll take you back to that game, Spain versus Finland. In Spain, where Spain had 90% of the possession, but could still only draw the game 1-1 because they didn't make the final pass. They didn't play enough balls forward. They weren't clever enough around the box. They didn't get crosses in either.
Caceres' long ball was aimed towards Edinson Cavani, who thought he might have been fouled by Sergio Ramos, referee having none of it. Pedro going down there. He's been a star for Spain. He's got 4 of their 8 World Cup qualifying goals so far and has really established himself.
Perez with the foul. See quite a few of those, I'd imagine, throughout the tournament. Little Bologna midfield player. He's running across Pedro.
Here's Arbeloa of Real Madrid. Iniesta. Can Uruguay keep the ball? Gargano plays it wide. There's almost ironic applause from the Brazilian supporters watching this.
Quickly given away again by Cavani. That's the problem when you do get the ball. You haven't had it for so long. You feel uncomfortable on it.
It would be something else again, wouldn't it, for Spain to win the World Cup in South America. It's never been done by a European team.
I think they still have to be the favourites at the moment.
The old Czechoslovakia, as they then were, made the final in '62 in Chile. Iniesta finding that little pocket of space. Soldado with the layup in. Iniesta and Muslera at the second attempt managed to grab it. He did make a horrendous error for one of the goals when these two sides met in a friendly in Doha a few months ago. Muslera.
They were a bit unlucky to start with. Just hits the heel of the first attacker. Fabregas, I think it was. It's actually Fabregas trying to get in there. A good effort. Muslera was starting to come forward as the ball was played by Iniesta. That was that change of pace.
It's Fernando Muslera's 27th birthday today. It might be a busy one. Not seen anything yet of the much vaunted Uruguay attack. Perez tried to thread one through. I'll tell you what, though, they've got a couple of players up there who really could hurt you given even half a chance.
And that was a chance. Perez did well just to wriggle away from the first challenge. There was a space in between the two centre halves. Cavani on the half turn was right on the offside line. Had the pass been better, Cavani could have been in there. Got to make the most of every opportunity they get, Uruguay.
Only the second time Spain have featured in the Confederations Cup. They were knocked out in the semi-finals, you might remember, 4 years ago by the United States. 2-0. Clint Dempsey and Josie Altidore on target. Fabregas wide. Jordi Alba looking to slide one in. There was Soldado hunting, but Godin had done enough.
He did well again, Godin. Look at the pressure on Gargano. He does well to get out of it. That's Jordi Alba again, getting lots of space down this left-hand side, just rolling the ball across the 6-yard box. Really good defending from Godin.
There'll also be one or two scouts looking at Cavani and Suarez here, both, of course, the subject of much transfer speculation. Suarez says he does want to leave Liverpool because of what he sees as victimisation by the English press.
I think he's blaming you.
Yes. I don't think it was any of the journalists who actually bit anybody on the pitch.
But you won't be able to judge him on this performance so far because he's just chasing the ball around, trying to win it back at a certain point. Now he's got a chance to win it.
Well, wherever he goes next season, he'll have to start with a 6-game ban because he still has that to serve of his suspension for that biting incident against Chelsea. Iniesta for Spain. Can they carve anything out here? Fabregas was trying to make progress. Uruguay's defence is holding firm, marshalled as ever by Lugano and Godin. Fabregas on the chase here. Might get a corner for that. Look like that. Yep.
There's that run behind the fullback again. Lugano getting across. Fabregas was always struggling to get there. They often don't play balls straight in, but with Ramos doing so well in the air in recent games, they may just throw this ball into the box.
Xavi to take it, aiming for a 4th World Cup here next year. Pedro deflected it in. Spain have the lead. Pedro's volley took a deflection on its way through, and Spain get the payoff. for their total domination in the opening 20 minutes.
Well, that was good technique to keep the ball down on the edge of the box from Pedro. I think it could be the centre half. Yeah, they don't get the clearance. Cavani just plays it out the box. And it's Lugano that gets the last touch, just sticks his right leg out. There's nothing Muslera can do about that. He does well to get this on target. We talked about the strike yesterday.
Oh, I'm not sure that was on his way in. That might go down as Lugano own goal.
I think it has to.
Yeah, it has to, because it was not, I don't think, going in, that volley by Pedro. He's going to claim it, but that's a Diego Lugano own goal in the end. The deflection was massive.
Pedro on the edge of the box, given the goal, but I don't think he will be when it's reviewed.
Don't think they have the old English Premier League style dubious goals panel here to sort all those things out. That mystery organisation. Never sure who's sitting on that. Well, Uruguay can't argue with this scoreline. Vicente Del Bosque has seen his side really pick up where they left off at Euro 2012.
Well, they've had the shot from Fabregas that hit the post. They also had the one from Iniesta making that little forward burst. Now they've got the goal. How do you feel if you're Uruguay now? Been chasing the ball, but all the time it was 0-0. They could feel that they were doing their job. They were still in the game. Now they've got to chase and try and go and score as well.
Well, they really sat behind the ball in their opening game at the World Cup. I covered that one in Cape Town, a goalless draw. It was a fairly mundane affair, but they got the point they were looking for. Now they might have to come out to play a little more here. So Christian Rodriguez to Cavani. There's the Atletico Madrid man, Rodriguez again, and that's the way it's gone so far for Uruguay as the rain comes down.
Looks like he may have just changed his position, Rodriguez, to come closer in field. So Ramirez might have now gone out to the left-hand side. You see the number 18 in the rain here.
It's a Brazilian winter, you know. So left a little bit short there, and Casillas, who could have almost been reading a book so far, is last called into action. ESPN's exclusive coverage of the Confederations Cup continues Monday as tournament newcomers Tahiti take on Nigeria. We get underway at 2:45 p.m. Eastern. Federations Cup live on ESPN, ESPN3 and the Watch ESPN app. The last it is broken up by Uruguay now then. Can they get the counter going here with Luis Suarez? Free kick is given.
But it was actually good play from Spain, because as soon as Suarez got on the ball, the recovery runs of the Spanish midfield players was quicker than the Uruguay midfield players trying to support Suarez. Really fortunate to get the free kick.
He is a baffling mix of brilliance, belligerence and some wild excesses, really, Suarez.
But he's a great player to watch when he's playing at his best. Does some really outrageous things at times.
Lugano has come up from the back here. It wasn't his header in the end. Corner's been given. Came off a Spanish head last.
Ceras was the player that was the target. Got his jump in early. Now this is where people have often said that Spain can be vulnerable. Set plays into their box.
Suarez to take it, doesn't beat the first defender. Broken up. And Casillas, who was still furthest forward, unable to get on the end of that.
Here is the goal again. Cavani just plays it. Gargano have got it that little bit tighter. It looks like it is going wide. Gargano just has to stick out his leg, but comes off almost his shin.
I think you've got to call that an own goal, and we're not being cruel. is Andres Iniesta, scorer, of course, of the World Cup final winner.
I saw Gustavo yesterday just step in between his two centre-halves. Now it's Busquets that does it for Spain.
Fabregas looking for a 1-2 round the edge of the box. There'll be a free kick here.
That's when they've looked at their most threatening, when they play through the middle and those little 1-2s in and around pressure. So clever.
Well, Lugano's been playing in Spain, hasn't he, on loan at Malaga? So he'll know plenty of the guys in front of him here. He also played in Brazil for Sao Paulo and won the Copa Libertadores during that time. World Club Championship as well. More defending to do here. We've seen one great free kick already today from Pirlo of Italy. It's like Sergio Ramos is going to hit it. No, it isn't. It's Xavi. Oh! Curls away in the end.
Muslera had given this one up, I think. Never really thought that Ramos was going to take the strike, but it wasn't him. Xavi comes. There's three Spanish players in the wall. Muslera can't see it. Anything below the bar, and that's it. Goalkeeper would have got nowhere near it.
Yep, I think in the words of the old song, he was just wishing and hoping there. Muslera
can't see the ball. Look how many players are in the wall, plus the three Spanish players. Oh, Cavani could be in trouble here.
He's got a yellow card for that challenge on Sergio Ramos, who goes down clutching his face. Cavani's thinking that Ramos is making quite a bit of that.
Yeah, I think he is as well. It's not an elbow, it's a hand. It's also the other Spanish players that are trying to get the referee. Yes, he swings his arm, but I don't think it's too dangerous. And Cavani's he's just seen it on the big screen.
Yeah, he's saying to the referee, did you see that on the screen? He's got a yellow card for it, but he might have been a little bit hard done by.
I thought they weren't allowed to show contentious moments on the big screen, but obviously they do.
This time Alba's holding his face.
Ramos with the foul.
Well, this is all beginning to get a little bit tempestuous at the moment.
And they're also saying there was a foul up the other end, Spain. Ramos is still moaning about it. Alba was the player that was fouled here. He thought there was an elbow, but he actually runs into the challenge of
Christian Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez was shielding the ball. Look at the way Alba's reacting to it. It's the bad side of the Spanish play.
There was at least contact that time, but
and there you see the double-footed and aggressive challenge from Sergio Ramos. Player that's been sent off once or twice in his career.
16 times for Real Madrid, by the way. Getting a bit tasty out there all of a sudden, this. Suarez to take it. Cavani got something on it as well. That might easily have produced an equaliser.
Couldn't quite get enough on it, could he? The ball was played over the top. Cavani made the run, just got a slight touch. A really clever free kick. Just played in behind. Cavani gets there in front of Piqué. Straight ball, we don't often see that. Cavani jumps early, gets in front of the centre half, but straight at Casillas. I think if the game does get a bit feisty, it will actually help Uruguay.
Maxi Pereira with the throw for Uruguay. And now says Fabregas. Uruguay beginning to press for the ball a little higher up the pitch. I think they had to do that.
Absolutely. And they'll have a better game because of it. If they can press the ball, they can start winning it back, put Spain under a bit more pressure.
Lugano is fouled by Soldado. And everybody, we don't need this, do we? Everybody making a song and dance of every single challenge. Both teams guilty. Spain first of all, and
he gets a whack on the side of the head.
Oh, that's it. But
got to get on with the game. There's another screen.
Suarez easily broken up. He was suspended again in midweek from the World Cup qualifier. Suarez, vital win for Uruguay there. Fabregas, things on here maybe for Spain. Thought about the shoal. Soldado! Yeah, he's done it. It's paid off. The selection rewarded with a goal. Roberto Soldado again. 2 in a week for Spain for him.
But there's clever play from Cesc Fabregas. And I think it's Pereira that just keeps everybody onside, or keeps Soldado onside, the number 16. Yes, he's level. It's the right decision by the assistant referee, and it's a good finish. He looks like he's going to bend it into the far corner and then just wraps his foot round it as the goalkeeper goes to ground. So he looks at the far post and then bends it into the opposite side. And he certainly was level with the fullback Pereira. But there's the clever pass from Cesc Fabregas.
Goal for Spain by player number 4.
10 goals, 10 caps and 6 goals now for Roberto Soldado. He's now got 15 in his last 18 goals for club and country. And that really must have been a moment and a chance he would have dreamt about. He seemed to have all day, didn't he? But finished it beautifully.
Well, what Uruguay tried to do, as Fabregas had the ball, they tried to squeeze up and press him. But they didn't press him well enough, and the other players didn't get round on the cover. So they were too square. And Pereira just went slightly back in. Going to be a really tough evening now for Uruguay.
Well, it has been from the word go, hasn't it, here? Can they find some kind of riposte here? Of course, their most important agenda is making sure that they qualify for the World Cup. They're currently in 5th place in the South American group. That would be good enough if they could hold on to it to earn them a playoff against the 5th place finisher in Asia. But Venezuela are just behind them on the same number of points. I have played a game more, and Peru still have a chance as well. And by the way, Uruguay's last World Cup qualifier is at home to Argentina.
Not going to get any easier for them. This is a team that won the Copa America, playing brilliant football, outplaying every other opponent. Front players link brilliantly, work really hard in midfield. Had to change their system here because after the first 15-20 minutes when they've been totally outplayed.
Olays now from some of the fans here.
See how much higher Perez and Gargano are now. They're trying to press up on Busquets and Xavi.
Must be quite a curious experience for some of the Brazilian fans, because Spain now enjoy the kind of status in the global game that Brazil took for granted for so long. I think we already know here, if we didn't know already. Oh, thought for a moment Casillas was going to make a present of that to Suarez. I think we know that it's going to take a very, very good team to beat Spain this year and next.
They've still got all the attributes that they're so good at, and now just trying to add that little bit more to it. Little Soldado playing through the middle. I think they've always wanted to play with the centre forward, but the centre forwards they've had haven't been playing well enough. Villa hasn't played well enough in recent times. Certainly Torres hasn't played well enough in recent times. At the Euro Championships, they'd have played with the centre forward, but because there wasn't anyone playing with the right sort of quality, they had to play Fabregas up there at time as the non-centre forward.
Interestingly, David Silva left out tonight as part of the selection which allows Soldado to play. Somebody had to go.
Well, I think Silva's very much like some of the other players. They just needed that little bit of injection of pace. That's why Pedro's in the side, out on that right-hand side. Silva could have played there, of course. Soldado just makes more forward runs than David Silva would do.
Well, I think he's going to keep the job, isn't he? For the moment, scored against Ireland in midweek. He's scored here.
PK. Too tight to Suarez on that occasion. Suarez just rolling him.
Yellow card for Gerard Piqué.
Suarez does well just to let the ball run across his body. He realised that Piqué had got too tight and was always going to try and intercept that first ball.
That time Suarez was sinned against. The free kick goes to Lugano, who couldn't control it. And I guess from Uruguay's point of view, that might have fallen to the wrong man.
Certainly did. They've had one chance from a free kick. That wasn't a good free kick from Suarez. He totally mishit that. Spain didn't defend it well, and Lugano breaking forward. Just comes off his shin in the end.
If it had been Cavani, it might have been another story. Xavi. It's really good play, isn't it? Arbeloa making his way inside from the right back position. Jordi Alba, he's got a bit of pace on the left-hand side as well. And Busquets, a rare effort on goal from him. Eight minutes to the break. Spain 2 up. An own goal from Lugano, and then Roberto Soldado with a second. Xavi's corner. Oh, and it's a save on the line. Piqué was in there, and Muslera, who didn't know much about it, I don't think, but was in the right place.
That's a good delivery into the box. Piqué got in front of his man. He does everything right. Directs it goalwards. Good ball in from Xavi, and they are a threat from set plays. The first one came out to the edge of the box, resulting in the goal.
Well, this is interesting. They're actually taking long corners. They didn't used to do this. They'd play it short from the corner. This time Muslera can just grab a hold of that one. The Galatasaray goalkeeper, they had a good run in the Champions League this year. Cesc Fabregas.
Easy possession again from Spain.
Fabregas. He's usually got a goal in him. Iniesta pulls it back. And Uruguay here are really all out to just hold on to respectability at the moment.
Well, they've brought Rodriguez over this side just to protect this sort of area.
FIFA World Cup qualifying continues on Tuesday on ESPN. Join me in Sandy, Utah, where the United States look to consolidate top spot in the Hex as they face Honduras. Live coverage beginning at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app.
Muslera didn't know too much about that, did he? Just got enough of his left boot to it.
Suarez. Bit of rust showing, perhaps.
Yeah, he was just trying to lift the ball into the far post. Cavani was pulling round the back. Did well to hold off Rames to start with. Don't like the tackle. Spanish bench.
Meaty challenge, wasn't it? On Iniesta.
Perez had a little go at Iniesta here, and it's the second challenge from the fullback coming in.
Yeah, Maxi Pereira. Lugano caught out. And another Spanish player rolling around on the floor. Well, we've had a few amateur dramatics in this first half as well.
It's not good to see the Spanish players
They don't need to do it, do they, Stuart?
No,
they don't need to be doing this.
Lugano's trying to shield the ball. Does he throw his elbow? It's a hand.
It's absolutely.
There's nothing. That's terrible from Soldado. And the way you saw Cesc Fabregas suggest to the referee that it was an elbow. It was nothing like an elbow.
I mean, they're far from the only culprits in world football, but this, frankly, is disgraceful. A team as good as Spain do not need to be sinking to that kind of thing.
That was the area that people were a little bit concerned when they watched the Real Madrid-Barcelona games. Some of the play acting that was going on. It wasn't just on the field, it was between the managers as well at times. There's a lot of space to hit this ball into. They're trying to hold a high line here, Uruguay.
Xavi will look to hit it into that space, but it's not one of his better deliveries. Diego Perez gets it away.
Uruguay backed off quickly enough and then defended it from a slightly deeper position.
Just haven't really been able to get into the game at all, Uruguay here. Crunching challenge by Maxi Pereira again, who might be pushing the referee's patience a little here.
Frustration from him because he's had a really difficult job. They've brought Rodriguez over to this side to give him a bit more protection, but whatever he does, it's wrong. If he goes in field, they run down the side of him. If he stays wide, they play little balls in behind him.
Sergio Ramos, who has come up with a couple of important goals in the World Cup qualifiers already, from the back in the 1-1 home draws with France and Finland, which just put Spain under a bit of unexpected pressure in the group. Jordi Alba. I think he's a bit pumped up, isn't he, Maxi Pereira here? He's getting a bit fed up with his team hardly getting a kick of the ball.
Not surprising either. There again, we saw the pace of Alba, the left back. They've had that bit of dynamism to their play.
Iniesta. Again, they're quite happy to go for the long ball. Sergio Ramos just mixing it up a little more, perhaps, than we've seen Spain sides of recent vintage. Stuart, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely right. That was the criticism in that game against Finland. They never crossed the ball. Apart from set plays, when they were desperate to get into the lead, and Ramos scored on that occasion. That time they played the short one, realised they couldn't get it back out to Xavi and played the ball into the box. He's good in the air, Ramos.
So one or two modifications to the model going on here. I'm sure that theme might be developed at half-time. Just been terrific again in the main here. That was a rare Spain ball given away. Christian Rodriguez found a good ball, though, to Luis Suarez here. Back covering Arbeloa to get it away.
Just for a moment, he got Piqué square. And he tried to just take it down the outside of him, but good recovery run from the midfield player.
Here's Christian Rodriguez again. And in the end, no way through for the Uruguayans, but at least the semblance of a threat from them. As Gaston Ramirez looked to do something, the Southampton man, we haven't seen a lot of him in this game so far. Here's Fabregas.
Additional time.
Half-time whistle can't come soon enough for Uruguay.
They certainly don't want to concede another goal now. They've been totally outplayed. Spain, right from the start of the game, dominated the play. Uruguay have had to change their system slightly. There's been a good tempo to Spain's play. Been accused in recent times of playing too slow. That hasn't been the case today.
Again, they go for the long corner kick. Most teams do that, of course, but not usually Spain, not in recent times anyway. Pedro looking full of confidence. And Spain have clearly come here with a pretty good attitude to this tournament. Once we're here, we might as well play it for real and really get ourselves accustomed to playing at this time of year in Brazil. Jordi Alba. Barcelona paying about $18 million for him to Valencia. That is half-time. And it's been very, very one-sided. Looked like an error from Lugano, but still being credited to Pedro. The other one from Soldado. Spain in charge as we hand it back to Bob Lee.
Thank